The answer was always the same when I was texting my friends, hey, what's going to happen here with the head of the players union? What do you think will happen when it was still uncertain about everything that's happening with him? Is it about what Pablo Torre found out, or is it about what's about to come out? And I told you it was the strip club. I told you it was the reporting about the strip club, and I told you that he was trying to save everything. And then it all changed when he's like, Van Natta's sniffing around. Van Natta's asking questions. Then all of a sudden he shut everything down. So Pablo smoked it out, but Van Natta made him quit. Don Van Natta, the Pulitzer Prize winner, joins us now, and he's very busy. He's a senior writer for ESPN, and he continues to investigate all of this stuff. This is just the beginning, isn't it, Don? This is about you guys. Now that you guys are sniffing around, this is about to get a whole lot worse.
Absolutely, Dan. Great to see you. It will get worse because there's a federal criminal investigation going on in Brooklyn, looking very closely at the NFLPA and the MLBPA. That's how I got started in this. I want to set the record straight a little bit about Pablo. Pablo did get that 61-page collusion ruling, which certainly intensified our investigation. But a month prior to that, Jeff Passan and I broke a story at ESPN that the NFLPA and the MLBPA are under criminal investigation for One Team Partners, which is this company that was co-founded by the two unions and Redbird Capital, looking into financial irregularities there. So that's when I first started getting interested. But no doubt, when Pablo got that 61-page collusion ruling that the union, literally Lloyd Howell, tried to bury with a confidentiality agreement that we reported with the NFL, then from that moment we did that story, I think it was 9 days from that story to when we found out about the strip clubs and Lloyd Howell resigned. It was quite quick.
What would you tell us is most important for the audience to know about your most recent reporting?
Well, the story that we did yesterday, that Kaylin Kaler and I did, is a deep dive, more than 3,000 words, that takes you inside how Lloyd Howell got his job. He was elected in the most secretive process in union history. The architect of that secret process was J.C. Tretter. J.C. Tretter was a former NFLPA president who then Lloyd Howell he created a new job for him, actually, called Director of Strategy. And interestingly, Tretter, as Director of Strategy, knew nothing about the collusion ruling and a lot of other things that were going on that Lloyd Howell was keeping from the players. So, Dan, you had a secretive election that put Lloyd Howell in the job, and then many decisions, as we laid out in our story yesterday, that Howell made kept the players in the dark, not just about the collusion ruling, but even after he got his job. And details came out about his previous work at Booz Allen, where he was the CFO and in charge of that company when there was one of the largest fraud cases of overbilling of the federal government. After he got his job, just 3 weeks later, a settlement was set between Booz Allen and the federal government. $377 million fine was paid by Booz Allen. And a month later, the Washington Post reported that a whistleblower at Booz Allen brought all this alleged fraud, turned out to be fraud, right on the desk of Lloyd Howell. And he said, nothing to see here. All that came out just within a few weeks of Howell getting his job. A top union lawyer wanted to tell the player reps who had just voted Lloyd Howell in that information, and they were never told. So time and again inside the union, players, the entire membership, even the leadership, even J.C. Tretter didn't know what was going on. And so that's, I think, one of the biggest takeaways of yesterday's story that Kaylin and I did.
Zaz is a radio legend. He's an entertainer. I feel that he's getting a little bit bored when we get into the weeds here on some of this stuff. So, Van Natta, can you please impress Zaz and Chris Cody with, like, what are the dirtiest parts of this story? Like, what's coming next? Give them the dirty stuff. Like, impress us with, instead of union talk, try to entertain. You old-timey print journalists, guys, like, do a little clown dance for us and tell us where's the dirty, what's the worst of it, and what's coming next?
Well, certainly the strip club stuff, which we absolutely have to talk about, because that was really the end of Lloyd Howell's tenure. I had been hearing about a week earlier that he was going to strip clubs, taking employees at the NFLPA to strip clubs during events. and started chasing it. And literally in the course of just a few hours, last Thursday afternoon, we heard a lot of details about it, particularly the one which to me is one of the most astonishing things I've ever come across in my career. Lloyd Howell flew to Fort Lauderdale International Airport at 10:36, got into a car hired by the union, and that car took him directly to Tootsie's Cabaret. Let me tell you what Tootsie's Cabaret is if you don't know. It's in Miami Gardens, Florida.
Oh, we know. We know.
Right there.
Oh, okay.
It's
No,
the
just
biggest.
go and describe it.
It's the biggest. We know.
Solid spot.
Never seen it. What is it?
We know.
It's the largest in the world.
That's what they
It's
call
in a-
themselves. Yep.
We know.
That's right. 76,000
You're not
square
impressing
feet.
them, print guy. Listen,
All right.
the entertainers know what you're talking about.
Okay,
And Chris
good.
Cody and Zaslow, too.
All right. Well, what we found out, which Lloyd Howell I don't think knew that we knew this, is that the car sat outside while he was in there through the night for 7 hours, because he got out about 5:30 and then the car took him to his apartment in Sunny Isles Beach at 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. And here's the key to this. This was charged to the union. And I don't think Lloyd Howell knew that we even knew that and had the documents. And when he found that out, he didn't find that out, nor did the executive committee until our story came out the following day. But he knew the bad optics of that, as well as a visit in Atlanta to the Magic City Strip Club, which is quite famous in Atlanta.
Lemon
And
wings.
chicken wings, yeah.
Chicken wings are famous, right? A lot of
Smaller than
rappers
you'd
love
think.
that place. Right. And so those two
Schmeckles.
visits on the expenses of the NFLPA were really the last straw for Lloyd Howell. So
Tell
there
ya,
it is.
Dan, that's some chutzpah. $700+.
It's just this. I thought that was the deal. I swear to you, when it happened, and Van Natta knew this when he wrote it. When I read $700 from Fort Lauderdale to Miami, and Van Natta, you can take us through this. You submit questions to get to Lloyd Howell that are going to say, why'd it take 8 hours? Why'd you go straight from the airport? And Lloyd Howell picks up the phone. He says, I resign. These are not questions I want. You asked very detailed questions that had him caught on, you spent $800 of union money with a car just sitting outside a strip club, and you went straight from the airport.
And it's not a long ride. It's not like it's a schlep.
No, it's a $40 Uber.
That's right. And this is a guy worth $100 million, and a $700 receipt cost him this job that pays him $3.4 million a year. And you're right, Dan, when I called them with those questions, I knew the answers to them because I knew I was going to get the document. I didn't have it yet, but I had it described to me and knew I was going to get it in a matter of a few hours. And Lloyd Howell resigned not knowing I was going to get the document, because then he went into an executive committee meeting, which is also kind of stunning. We reported yesterday. He basically sat down with the 10 guys that elevated him to the job, and they were still all in, begging him not to quit. He told them about the strip club, but not honestly. And he hung in there because I think he probably assumed correctly that we were going to get the receipts, and we got them and published the story the next day.
Can we agree that if you're at the strip club from 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. and you're an adult, you're a loser? I mean, he's supposed to be a professional.
Or having a great deal of fun.
What about 12 to 6?
Come on.
Or having a great deal of fun.
8 hours?
It is a long time, but have you been to Tootsie's? Like, they're not profitable I haven't been. They're not
it's a good
profitable
spot.
from midnight to 8 a.m. because it's not active from midnight to 8 a.m. Isn't it open 24 hours? Okay, there we go. I've lost all my credibility on this issue because I don't know anything about it.
It's not open 24 hours,
No.
I've heard.
Look, again, he wants to go to the strip club on his own time with his own money. I don't care. Nobody cares. Right? This is union money. These are union dues paid for by players that he used for this car service on a Thursday night. Okay, it was a school night, and Friday at 6 a.m. the car dropped him off at his place, and so the optics of that clearly were not good, and he knew that, and that was it.
I wanted to have Don on also to talk about his upcoming book, The Star. It's going to focus on the life and legacy of Jerry Jones. It's going to be released in 2026. You're about to get a whole lot of Jerry Jones, incidentally, because Netflix is doing a 10-part series on Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. And And so I want to talk about that. But what else do we need to know here, Don? What are the important details? The union must feel rudderless. Its players must be furious that you guys continue to embarrass them. Players have traditionally, I can't remember a time that football players didn't have a problem with the head of this union. All of them have been problematic to the players. How much worse is it now in terms of the union being unified on really being embarrassed by what you've reported, you and Pablo have reported recently?
Oh, that's a great question. It's clearly the worst crisis in the union's 68-year history. Dominique Foxworth puts it quite nicely, I think.
What do you say?
Well, he said basically this has woken everybody up and has gotten a pretty traditionally apathetic rank and file, not just embarrassed, but also wanting to fix it. And it remains to be seen whether they rise to that challenge. They have to find an interim executive director. I believe they'll do that by the end of this week. But they have to find a permanent executive director, which they will likely do after the Super Bowl. And that choice is really, really important. Look, no ex-player, Dominique Foxworth applied, Matt Schaub applied for this job when Lloyd Howell got it, Kellen Winslow Sr., the Hall of Famer. None of those guys even got a real serious look. And Lloyd Howell, formerly of Booz Allen, with this massive fraud investigation ongoing when they looked at him, he's one of the two finalists. The other is a SAG-AFTRA guy named David White. And none of those former players do. As we know, Gene Upshaw was the last former player to lead the union. And he was a pretty tough guy across the table with those NFL owners. They respected him.
That's the last time I remember this union having leadership that it felt like it could trust. It's been nothing but mistrust since then.
That's right. That's fair. And D. Smith, we did a profile of DeMaurice Smith a few years ago. He's got a book coming out that apparently trashes me and says that I'm in the hip pocket of NFL owners, which is one of the more absurd things you could say about me. But D. Smith, we did a profile. The NFL owners looked at D as somebody that they were happy was in that position. They felt they had rolled him in not one, but two CBAs in 2011 and 2020. And the next CBA is still 5 years away, but it's going to get here very, very quickly. And whoever the players do decide to elevate and choose for the next job has to be somebody who can be equal to the NFL owners that they face in the next CBA.
Don, you've done some great reporting over the years on Jerry Jones, and I'm wondering what your take is when Kevin Clark says, when I look at Jerry Jones, I think of one thing. If the football gods came down and said, Jerry, you get to win the next 3 Super Bowls, but the catch is you can't do a press conference. He looks at the football gods and says, no deal.
I saw that Kevin said that. I don't agree with that. Let me tell you why. Because Jerry wants the next Super Bowl in such a bad way. He would write a massive check for it because it shows that he as general manager can win a Super Bowl without Jimmy Johnson. And so when he says 3, he wants to win the next one. I actually think Jerry would give up that post-game press conference that he loves to do all the time before the camera to win 1, not 3. I think he'll win 1, and then he would like to go back to all of the press conferences and all of the sitting in front of cameras that he just loves to do. But he really desperately, this is part of his legacy. It's hardwired to that. He wants to win the next one really, really bad. And I think even Jerry would give up being a showman and being out front if you could get that next Super Bowl.
Do you agree with Zaz when he says he does all of the contracts protracted and caves and gives all the guys money because it's all entertainment and he just wants to be in the news?
It's just the only explanation I can gather, Don, when he could have paid these guys, like last year and saved money.
No question. I do. Zaz, I agree with you. By the way, I heard what you said earlier. Zaz, I respect you. Okay, even though you're wearing the Goldilocks.
No.
What?
What?
Well, what is that? What hair is that?
What? What is what?
You're talking about his new beard?
Yeah, I'm a grown-up, so I have a beard now, Don.
Oh, got it. Okay. Anyway, I respect you, Zaz. You're absolutely right. Jerry doesn't mind the extra, few million as long as he can be dominating the conversation when training camp opens. We've seen it year after year. It's part of the formula. Jerry doesn't mind to pay a few extra $1 million to these guys as long as he can dominate the conversation.
We know you have to go. We appreciate the time. Last question on your way out. Who is more famous in South Florida? Pulitzer Prize winner Don Van Natta or 2-time broadcasting champion Jonathan Zaslow?
Well, Jonathan Zaslow, without a doubt.
Wow.
No question.
Respect,
No doubt.
Don.
So
Respect.
Zaz,
Respect to
Zaz,
you.
all the way.
You've got
all the
nice
way,
teeth.
no doubt.
Wow.
Thank you.
What's going on there?
Okay, what is that? What is that? What
Put
is
it on the
that?
poll.
What's going on there?
I'm just saying. I mean, those teeth are very
You're
nice.
you're going to investigate the investigator?
Yep.
Are you making an
Swinging
accusation? Hold
light
on
of
a second. Hold on a second. Let me do
Please
this.
don't,
Hold on.
please don't find the receipts for my teeth.
Hold
okay?
on, hold
Let's
on.
not look for them.
Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless. Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You good?
Fake teeth.
Whoa.
No, that's not right. That is not right what you just did. That
They're
there to
nice,
that man.
though. Spectacular.
That was rude. Rude.
Who's your guy?
Get him. Let him go. He had a heart.
And do they talk a lot about Trump?
That's not cool what you just did. Not cool. You know what? Hold on a second.
Because Dan has his dentist that he likes a lot.
We've got a penalty, 5 minutes, major asshole.
Goodbye, Don. Thank you for being on with us.
Not you, him.
We love you, Don.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
As soon as you said that, I saw that poor man, like his upper lip moved to cover his teeth because of whatever shame he had about what you just did to him.
They're real and they're spectacular.
He's still here, like looking at him. Like, I don't like this at all.
Well, because that was not
It was
nice.
uncalled for. It was uncalled for. Ridiculous.
What a way to... the man has been nice enough to come and be on the show with us. He's a wildly respected person. I've loved his work for 30 years.
I have a lot of confidence
Like-
now because
like,
of him.
He's super nice to us. He makes time for us. And Mike does that? Like, that's reprehensible.
What a dick. What a schmeckle.
He's worse than Dick Sampson.